Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on live stream music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, come in today, you're very, very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last video on the wild one. Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire, amongst other hits. Great to look at his life. And he well and truly shook the music industry, absolutely. So it's great to give him a bit of a go. We're going from there to Joseph Levitch, who was born in New York, New Jersey in 1926. So we're going back a little way here. Came from a Jewish family, a performing family. And certainly in his teenage years, Joseph was involved in pulling pranks all over the neighbourhood. And it was around that time that he actually got a job in a burlesque house. That wasn't going too bad, but it kind of didn't work at the same time. You know how theatre can be. And so he ended up becoming a theatrical usher instead. He thought this is kind of it. But a guy called Max Common said, hey mate, I think you got something actually here. Why don't you give it another go? And Jerry Lewis, who we're talking about today, the undisputed king of comedy, thought he better do that. And his world changed in 1945 when he met Dean Martin. Now, just got to get your head around these two opposites really in characteristics. We've got Dean Martin, suave, sophisticated, voice like silk. And we've got Jerry Lewis, who's not. And Jerry Lewis very much would play the crazy guy, and Dean Martin was the straight guy. And between them, they became one of the highest paid duos around that time. In fact, Paramount thought, hey, I think we're onto something here. And certainly there was 2 movies, and then between 1950 and 1956, 14 movies. So that's over 2 movies a year. This is how big these guys were, and they were bankable, absolutely. And Paramount Pictures were glad that these two got together. Thought we'd better actually get a couple of songs from a couple of clips. We've got movies, What Would I Do Without You? We've got a movie clip of that one, with having a bit of a laugh about, hey, what would I do without you? Well, I do this, this, and this, and this. And what do I do without you? Well, I don't know. I do this, 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 and this. But you know what? We're together, and that's all that matters. So what would I do without you? And we also got That's Amore. And this song doesn't just typify nothing better than the stark difference between these two. Suave, sophisticated Dean Martin singing with his beautiful voices he's got, and Jerry Lewis, that's Amore, that voice that he had. He endeared himself into the world with that voice. So these guys were together for around 10 years, but I think things were getting a bit stretched between the two of them. And they did do a final performance in a final nightclub in 1956, because when they weren't doing movies, these guys were very, very well known and very, very sought after as performers. They never disappointed with their performances. So life kind of paused a bit at that point. Imagine being one of the successful duos in the world, and next minute you're not. So what am I going to do now? So between 57 and 1959, Jerry Lewis kind of reassessed himself a little bit with his family, and thought, well, hang on a minute, what about singing? So Jerry Lewis does actually have a pretty good singing voice when you take the kind of the quirkiness out of it. Rockabye Baby, this song became massive for him. In fact, he got discovered singing. He was asked to stand in for the immortal Judy Garland in Las Vegas when Judy couldn't actually sing. So Jerry Lewis became pretty big at that point. The song got to number 10, which is pretty cool. In fact, around that time, out came an album, Jerry Lewis Just Sings. This song got to number 3, and it sold quite a few copies, about 1.5 million copies. And so Jerry Lewis thought, hang on a minute, I think I might be onto something here. So he did do some recordings after that, but I thought let's go back to that album and the iconic Smile. Charlie Chaplin brought this song to this world. We've got a beautiful clipper actually here. Jerry Lewis, I think he's got his finger in a puppet and he's singing to his puppet. The puppet is not feeling so good. Jerry Lewis is doing his best to actually make the puppet a bit happier. So it's quite an intimate little clip really there between Jerry Lewis and himself. This is what Jerry Lewis was able to do. He was able to adapt to every situation you would put him in. And he was able to not only be quirky and corny and all the rest of it, but he was also able to be quite endearing and poignant as well. So it was great to see this quite intimate clip of the song Smile. Quite an interesting song, this one, because, you know, smile, though your heart is breaking. It's a sad song, this one. And it requires just that right knack of bringing that happiness and sadness all together at the same time. Jerry Lewis absolutely nails it. And it was around that time that he got signed with the Sands Hotel, and it was a 5-year residency, and all he had to do was perform 6 weeks a year. And at this point, he was becoming one of the most highest paid performers in the country. In 1959, Paramount Pictures thought, hey, you know, I reckon we can get you back, mate. What about 14 movies in 7 years? And Jerry Lewis said, yeah, all right. Yep, keep talking. Okay, we'll give you $10 million up front, plus 50% of the profits. And you know what? We'll also give you a little bit of creative control as well, because you know what? We reckon you've got some pretty funny stuff to say, some funny stuff to bring on the screen. So I'm going to just let you do things. So Jerry Lewis said, what a great idea, that one. And so he well and truly did do that for the next little while. One of his classics, 1960, The Bellboy. And he not only produced, he directed, and he co-wrote this one. And he really endeared himself in this show. We've got a pretty incredible clip here of him being a bellboy and working out which phone to answer. Absolutely classic. This whole movie is pretty amazing, really, because Jerry Lewis had no dialogue in this movie. He squeaked and he squawked and he made noises and all the rest of it, but he didn't actually have any dialogue. And because of that, he was able to shoot the scenes pretty quickly because he could just do the action stuff pretty well. No speaking movie in 1960. Now the film studio thought, hang on a minute. We're not sure about going back to silent movies, or thought we'd left this era behind. But Jerry Lewis kind of said, no, I want to do this thing. But Paramount got a little bit scared at this point, but didn't stop him from actually still producing movies. In fact, he put up his own funds of $950,000 to make The Bellboy. So he was continuing to do movies, he was continuing to do live performances, and he was well and truly a sought-after performer around the country. But it was great, a little while, some 20 years after Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis said goodbye, Frank Sinatra, of all people, got these two back together in a bit of a reunion. Now, this is a beautiful clip, this one, of these two reuniting after 20 years. Thank God for Frank Sinatra, who actually did that. So it's very nice to see that a duo such as significant as these guys was able to get back together. Jerry Lewis, king of comedy, what can we say? He had anarchy and he also had half excruciation. Now, when we talk about excruciating, we're talking about that time when we're watching something and we're just inwardly grimacing the whole time, but we can't take our eyes away, and you just keep doing what you keep doing, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing. Because Jerry Lewis was the master of excruciating comedy, and he was able to just know how far to stretch audiences, how far to actually just get the laugh that he needed. Of course, we've got anarchy as well. He was uninhibited, very expressive, a little bit volatile at times, and at times we had some really quite edgy comedy happening. But he was able to endear himself to the public by being the bumbling everyman. I mean, who would have thought about making a movie about the bellboy? And it's just an everyday, bottom of the hotel chain job, and he absolutely nails it in the movie. So he was also known though for just really choreographing what he did, and the sight gags that he did were very sophisticated indeed. So he will always leave a bit of a mark on the world of comedy. The world of comedy, absolutely. Now, Jerry did leave us at the age of 91 in 2017. We've got a bit of a clip from the ABC News about that particular death. Between 1940, if I can remember right, 1947 and 2016, 60 movies. So there we go. Movies with Dean Martin, movies on his own, and he pretty well had a career all the way up pretty much to his death in 2017. He just kept on keeping on. I love Jerry Lewis in many, many ways. I think I can really relate to just the way he was and the way that he was able to make the world laugh. And just to team up with Dean Martin, who was just so different to Jerry Lewis in many, many ways, enabled him to really leave a mark on the world. I thought I'd finish off with a couple more clips too. We've got the Typewriter. This is a very, very funny clip of him miming a typewriter with a bit of the music in the background. We've also got from 1963 the Nutty Professor, and I thought we'd get a bit of a scene of him dancing here. And so he's again awkward. Excruciating to watch, but you can't help but watch. This was the power and the magic of Jerry Lewis. So we've got a bit of a dancing sequence of him. So it's great to give this guy, this king of comedy, a bit of a tribute today. The links to those 10 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from Jerry Lee Lewis, so if you want to recap on him, feel free. Well, if this is your first time to Life Reflections of Music, or you've come back for another one, how great to see everybody here. Well, that's it for today. Next time, we're going to get on to Aussie Johnny O'Keefe. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.